In fact, many famous figures have made their names through investing, such as Warren Buffett, George Soros, Howard Marks, or Peter Lynch. But how many of the following names have you heard of? Ronald Read, Grace Groner, and Eugenia Dodson. That's right, they're not household names. In fact, they weren't widely recognized until after their passing. Yet their lives tell stories of amassing significant wealth through investing. Ronald Read worked as a janitor during his lifetime. When he passed away, he left behind an $8 million estate, donating $6 million to libraries and hospitals. Grace Groner worked as a secretary for a pharmaceutical company. Upon her death, she left $7 million to her alma mater. Eugenia Dodson, after her passing, donated $35 million to a medical research center, and it's said that this was only 2/3 of her estate. Before their deaths, few knew they were wealthy. These individuals are what you'd call rich neighbors next door. They lived modestly, worked diligently, and accumulated significant wealth through long-term investing. If no one told you about their wealth, you'd probably see them as ordinary people you might run into on the street, a regular aunt or uncle. Their generosity is certainly admirable and inspiring. But that begs the question, how can the average person achieve what they did? Or, let's make it simpler. How can someone achieve financial freedom and enjoy a comfortable retirement? It's clear that unless you're born into a wealthy family, the key is to follow their path, build wealth through smart investing and financial management. To borrow Warren Buffett's snowball theory of investing, you need snow that's wet enough and a slope that's long enough. The wet snow refers to stable investment options, and the long slope refers to having the patience to wait over time. However, there's one crucial element missing from this analogy. You also need to keep investing consistently and continue buying over time. If this is your first time visiting the channel, welcome. Don't forget to subscribe and join us. Your support is what keeps me motivated to create more content. When it comes to investing, let me ask you something. Why do you think people invest? For many, the first answer might be to become rich. That was my own answer when I first started working. But here's the thing, this mindset can be a bit dangerous. If your goal is solely to become rich, then what happens once you achieve it? How much money is rich enough for you? This way of thinking can lead you into an endless pursuit of wealth. Worse, it can make you vulnerable to scams or risky behavior. You might even start relying on money as the solution to all your problems, believing that once you're rich, everything will magically fall into place. But the truth is, even if you become wealthier, new challenges will arise. And then you'll find yourself chasing after even more money. Yes, we live in a capitalistic society, and having money can solve a lot of problems. But here's the key. You should see money as a tool, not the ultimate goal. It's a means to an end, not the end itself. So why should people invest? A recent book, Just Keep Buying, offers an insightful perspective. It breaks down 3 main reasons for investing. 1. Saving for your future self. 2. Maintaining your purchasing power. 3. Replacing human capital with financial capital. If those make sense to you at first glance, great. You already have a solid foundation in financial knowledge. But if they seem unclear, don't worry. I'll share some key takeaways from the book to help us learn how to build wealth. Just Keep Buying is written by Nick McJooley, a data scientist and financial columnist. He graduated from Stanford University and is an expert in financial data analysis. The book is divided into 2 parts: how to save money, how to invest money. After reading it, I found one line that beautifully connects these 2 ideas. Poor people should focus on saving. Rich people should focus on investing. It might sound bold, but the author doesn't mean poor or rich in a judgmental way. He defines poor as your current self compared to your future self. If your future self is wealthier than you are today, then your present is the poorer stage of your life. From this perspective, in the early stages of your career, you should prioritize saving. Start by saving as much as you can and invest gradually alongside it. Later in life, once your investment returns surpass the amount you can save monthly, you should shift your focus to investing. That's what the author means by, when you're poor, focus on saving. When you're rich, focus on investing. Essentially, this is the core concept and structure of the book. So next, I'll combine the 2 parts of the book with my own experience in investing and financial planning to share 3 financial principles with you. The first principle, don't sacrifice your quality of life just to save money. This might sound a bit counterintuitive. How can you save money without sacrificing your standard of living? But honestly, If you save with a mindset of sacrifice, it's hard to keep saving over the long term. This isn't just based on my past experiences, it's also something I always emphasize when talking about financial planning. So, how can you save money without compromising your quality of life? The book explains that you shouldn't force yourself to save excessively. Just save as much as you're capable of saving. This concept was inspired by biology. In Alaska, there's a fish called the Dolly Varden char. Its primary food source is the eggs of another type of salmon. However, these salmon only come back to spawn during the summer. For the rest of the year, the Dolly Varden char doesn't have much to eat. So how do they survive? The answer is that during the times when salmon eggs are unavailable, they conserve energy by reducing their metabolism. Then, when the salmon return to spawn, they eat as much as they can to fill their stomachs. Applied to saving money, the concept is this: save more when you're able. For instance, if you get a bonus at work, you can save more during that time. Also, don't let your standard of living inflate too quickly with your income. Instead, focus on increasing the amount you save. On regular days, just save as much as you can. After all, at different stages of life, the amount you can save will vary. So, if you force yourself to save a fixed amount at all times, it could create unhealthy financial stress. For example, a financial survey from 2018 revealed that nearly half of Americans experience moderate to severe stress when it comes to saving money. One of the common sources of financial stress is feeling like you haven't saved enough. Therefore, we shouldn't approach saving money with a mindset of sacrifice. Instead, just save as much as you're able to. As for how to determine your ability to save, the book provides detailed methods. Here, I'll share my practical experience directly. When you receive income, set aside 1/3 of it as a short-term reserve fund. Spend the remaining 2/3 as usual. At the end of the month, if you find you've run out of money, take a portion from the reserve fund to use. If there's still money left over, save it. After a few months, you'll have a clear understanding of your savings ability. For more precise methods like bookkeeping, budgeting, or setting financial goals, the second principle: building wealth requires an entrepreneurial mindset, not an investment mindset. For most people, their primary or even sole source of income comes from their job. This is also why many people face challenges when it comes to saving. With limited room for salary increases, how can you save more money? As a result, many turn their focus to using investments to grow their wealth. However, the act of investing and the act of increasing income should be viewed separately. For long-term investing, the growth of your investments doesn't just depend on the return rate. It's also deeply tied to whether you can continuously invest new funds. Let me give you an example. Suppose there's an investment plan with an annual return rate of 5% and you plan to invest for 30 years. You have two ways to invest. First principle: invest $1 million upfront and contribute no new funds thereafter. Second principle: invest $10,000 every month consistently for 30 years. Now think about it. Which approach will accumulate more money in the end? The answer is the second approach, investing $10,000 monthly. The first approach would result in a total of $4.3 million after 30 years, with a profit of about $3.3 million. The second approach, however, would result in about $8.3 million, with a profit of approximately $4.7 million. Of course, the second approach requires a higher total investment. But from the perspective of accumulating more wealth, the second approach indeed yields higher returns. In short, if you want to build more wealth, finding ways to increase your income is faster than relying solely on investments. First, increasing your income provides more funds to invest. Second, having new funds allows you to take advantage of market dips during economic downturns, which can improve long-term returns. That said, going back to what I mentioned earlier, how do you create new income sources? This requires an entrepreneurial mindset. Don't get me wrong, I'm not suggesting you quit your job to start a business. Instead, use your time outside of work to explore other opportunities for generating income. Honestly, we're living in a time full of opportunities for side hustles and entrepreneurship. Many people are using entrepreneurial methods to increase their income beyond their regular jobs. Of course, this requires planning on your part. But remember, if you really want to speed up your path to wealth, adopting an entrepreneurial mindset is more effective than relying solely on an investment mindset. The third principle: if you're not a professional investor, spend less time on investing. Returning to the content of this book. As the title Just Keep Buying suggests, some of you might already guess that the author advocates passive, index-based investing. This type of investing follows a few simple principles. 1. Proper asset allocation. 2. consistently investing in ETFs. 3. Holding investments for the long term. But is investing really that simple? Actually, investing can be as simple or as complex as you make it. However, if you're not a professional investor and your goal is simply to accumulate wealth for the latter half of your life, you only need to grasp a few key concepts to meet your investment needs. The author uses horse racing as an analogy in the book. While many factors determine whether a horse wins a race, the most critical information can be boiled down to just one thing: the size of the horse's heart. By observing the size of a horse's heart, you can predict its racing ability. So, what's the most critical information in investing? According to the author's statistical analysis, it comes down to one conclusion: most investment markets tend to rise most of the time. Therefore, as long as you keep investing consistently over the long term, your investments will be profitable. Let me pause here to explain the idea that most markets rise most of the time. Accepting this concept requires a bit of faith. After all, no one can truly predict what the market will look like in 10 or 20 years. Economic crashes, wars, or even worse, depressions could happen. However, from my perspective, because I've spent a lot of time researching this, my confidence in this belief is very strong. I optimistically believe the market will rise over the long term. But you still need to be mentally prepared for downturns. This doesn't mean putting all your money into investments. So if you also accept the premise that the market will rise over time, your investment strategy can be very simple. The author spends many chapters explaining this strategy, but I'll summarize it for you into 6 key guidelines. 1. Don't buy individual stocks, buy index-based products. 2. Start investing as early as possible and as much as possible. The earlier you invest, the better. And invest any spare money you have, because cash loses value over time. 3. Hold your investments for as long as possible. 4. Market ups and downs have nothing to do with your investment behavior. 5. There are only 2 times to sell: when rebalancing your asset allocation, when you retire and start using your money. 6. Having money isn't the ultimate goal of investing. You'll never feel like you have enough money because there will always be someone wealthier than you. These are the lessons I've gained from combining my own experience with the insights in Just Keep Buying. Let's do a quick recap. Investing is a long journey. Using Warren Buffett's snowball concept, you need to invest in assets that will grow steadily over the long term. But beyond that, you also need to keep investing consistently. When you're in the poor stage of life, focus on saving more. During this phase, you should put your energy into saving because it's the stage where you are relatively less wealthy. Later in life, once your investment returns exceed the amount you can save, shift your focus to investing. Finally, remember these 3 principles. Don't save with a mindset of sacrifice. Use an entrepreneurial mindset to build wealth. Don't spend too much time on investing. For the details, you can always revisit and review. I've written a line before: saving is for going further, and investing is for making the journey easier. In today's financial system, cash will continue to lose value. Investing and managing wealth are skills everyone should learn. It's not just about maintaining purchasing power. It's also about having the resources to create the life you want. Don't rely on the idea of getting rich quickly through investments. Stick to a few key principles, and investing doesn't have to be overly complicated. If you found this video insightful, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you won't miss our next deep dive into the world of finance. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next one.